So we're going to kick things off here. I don't know that we have any announcements other than usual stuff. If you haven't signed up for Adobe Max, that's coming later this year. I don't think there is any sign up, but just be ready for it. Real quick, how many people went to NAB? Anybody other than myself?
Supervisor did. Spoke on a panel. I said my supervisor spoke on a panel there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was with the Chessa panel. We use Iconic here. For those that don't know, hi, I'm Kevin. I work here at ClickUp as an editor. Anyway, my supervisor Rodney was there speaking on the Chessa panel.
Cool. Yeah, I was only there for one day, and then it seemed a lot smaller. It seemed a lot less chaotic. All of that was actually kind of good, I thought. I don't know how it got the rest of the week. I went Sunday the first day, but yeah, it definitely was. If you've never been to NAB, totally encourage you to go next year. It is a really amazing sorry, got a little bit of a sinus infection, so I'm kind of getting over it now. So if I cough, I'll try to mute the mic so you don't have to do that. But yeah, highly encourage you to go to NAB. So all right, DJ, do you got anything, or should we just kick things off here?
I don't think too much. I was going to mention that Adobe Max this time is in person as well as online.
Oh, is it?
So
where is it going to be?
LA.
In LA. Ooh, so it's not far either.
So
wow.
It's I will say it's way better in person. I mean, as are most things, but it's not comparable. So I don't know that I'll be able to go because I have a very busy year coming, for the rest of the year. But I am going to try to go. I didn't bother going to the curated list of YouTube videos that they had the last 2 years.
What's the date? Do you know?
October, mid to late, but I'm not sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's usually October. I think it's like mid to late October.
They usually do it like October 19th, 20th. It's usually like the week before Halloween. But
yeah, if you've never been, it's an amazing event. I will say in all honesty that a lot of there's some of the instruction, like the sessions that they have in pertaining to Premiere and things like that are good. There's a lot of them that are really, really, really good, informative stuff. I find a lot of them are geared for whatever reason. I don't know why the video apps tend to be more like basic to like intermediate level type classes. I guess they assume that, because like Photoshop, you've got like advanced Photoshop, like with stuff that, only Stephen Burns knows. For those of you who know Stephen Burns, Photoshop user group manager. But for Premiere, it's like I go into some of these things and it's like, okay, yeah, dude, like this is 101. My whole user group knows how to do this stuff, So yeah, I don't know what it is with why that is, but there is some good stuff there. But the other sessions that talk about creativity and that talk about that kind of stuff, those are really amazing. And those are where I find you get the money value from it, is, learning how to think more creatively and work more creatively, and maybe taking classes on apps you don't normally use, and kind of broadening your skill set. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I would agree. I've never seen one of the classes, and actually most of the classes now are taught by people that already make YouTube videos. So just go find their YouTube video, watch that, and spend, $1,100 seeing like former White House photographers and like people who did amazing stuff talk about their process. And you're going to be a lot better than like, having a fancy version of this meeting.
Yes, that's true. Won't disagree. So, all right. And with that, let's kick things off. So this month we are going to talk about collaborative tools. We're going to break it up into 2 sessions or 2 parts. So I'm going to do one part. DJ is going to do another part. But before I do that, I'm going to kind of give you a quick little update on Premiere, some of the stuff that's new that was released at NAB. I'm sure a lot of you already know most of what's been released, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. But I'm going to kind of just get into a couple new features and then dive into some of the collaborative tools on the Premiere side. And then DJ is going to cover a bunch of collaborative tools that you may not have been aware of or might not have ever used, and how that can kind of help you in your workflow with clients and with other people, other creatives. A couple of the things that I'm going to cover, you probably already know about, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but one or two you maybe not know about. And so that's kind of my hope here, that I can give you some new information. So let me do screen sharing here. We'll share everything. Advanced computer audio. Okay, there we go. And hopefully I got audio on this. Okay, did everybody hear that ding? All right, good. Every month I figure Zoom out a little bit more. By the time I have Zoom mastered, we will be back meeting in person, and that information will do me no good. Just you wait and see. Okay, let's go into Premiere. So first thing I'm going to share with you, let me minimize this. Okay, there we go. Look at my handy dandy list. So Premiere 22.3 came out at NAB time, quickly followed by 22.3.1, because there was a really nasty bug in 22.3 that did something wonky with exports that were longer than 35 minutes. And then they released 22.4 just a few weeks ago. So real quickly, I'm just going to kind of talk about what's new in those versions in case you have not downloaded them and you're waiting. They are definitely worth downloading. The first thing that you'll notice in this new version is we have the import and export tabs and the edit tab we talked about a few meetings ago. That is no longer in beta. It is now in real life and in the shipping version. I'm not going to spend any time really talking about this unless anybody has any kind of questions about it. But you can see this is the new import tab for getting started. As I mentioned during the meeting where we talked about this and kind of explained it and broke it all down, this is not something that you have to use if you don't feel comfortable with it. It is purely one way to get your project started. If you don't want to use it, you can go back and kind of go the old way of doing things. But I'm kind of finding as I use it more and more that I'm kind of digging it. But the new import and export tabs seem to really, created this division in Premiere world where people are either like, hey, this is pretty cool. Or there's people that just utterly hate it and think Adobe just completely dropped the ball. It never ceases to amaze me that for a job that entails constantly changing and finding new ways to do things and show things and tell stories, that editors can be the most stuck in them, in their ways people that, give me new tools that, that help me change things, but never change them. It's like, come on, people, you're editors. You should be used to change. So anyway, sorry for the rant. So this is the new import window. If there's no questions on it, I'm going to go over to export and kind of, again,
oh. You're muted.
Sorry. This is the new export tab. I am a huge fan of this. I'm growing to love it. Again, I know people hate it. Don't know why. But it's not perfect, but I think this is so much easier to get stuff out nowadays. Again, we covered this a couple of meetings ago, so go back and find the recording, and and you can learn all about how to use it. Or like I said, if you have a question, feel free to let me know. But yeah, I think this is a much improved way to get stuff in and out of Premiere these days. Yeah.
Quick question.
Yes.
Maybe you'll cover this under the collaboration, but does this have an export to go to Frame.io now that they're integrated?
I'm going to get that. Don't get ahead of me.
Okay, because that was a big question at work today. Okay, thank you. I'll wait.
Yeah, so we will cover that. So getting into just like normal stuff in Premiere, a couple of new things that have been added. There is in 22.4 that was just released. There is you can now export, is it GIFs or GIFs? However you want to say it is fine with me. I don't hold it against you. I prefer to say GIFs. I know other people say GIFs. It becomes a whole right-left kind of thing. But yeah, you can now export those from Premiere with transparency, which you weren't able to do before. So for those of you who like to make your GIFs to go out there and own the other political party that you don't like, you can make your little GIFs inside Premiere now. And the other cool thing that I wanted to kind of talk about before we kind of move on here is, let me show you here. So you can add, let me add some markers here. Come down here. Let's come here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to make this first marker red, because why not? I'm going to make this second marker blue, because why not? I'm going to make this last marker white, because God bless America. Now, what if we go to our marker panel, you can see, where is my marker panel? There it is. You can see here, I've got my 3 markers, red, white, and blue. So you can change the color, and now you can sort your markers. So for instance, if you're working with somebody, collaborating, to keep the theme of the evening, and let's say I'm editing and I'm leaving markers for Jeff, and they're just comments that I want Jeff to work on, and I don't want DJ to work on them or to ignore them. I can tag all of Jeff's comments white, and when Jeff comes in, he can click on white, and only the white markers will show up now. And if DJ is red and I want Jeff and DJ to see those, I can click on the red, and now both of those will show up, all the red and the whites. And then if I want to see just everything, I can turn all of them off, and of course we'll see everything. So now you can select the markers that you want to see. You can color code them and then kind of select the ones you want to see. Is it a huge feature? No. But is it a helpful, kind of cool feature? Yeah, it's a little thing, and the little things count, people. So anyway, so that's one of the new features that I think is kind of cool. The last little new feature I will show before we move on here, let me clear these markers out of here. Let's go to graphics. This is not a feature that I would probably use all that much, being that I suck at graphics and I pay people like DJ to do graphics for me. But if you are the kind of person who likes to get in there and make your own graphics, this is a helpful little thing. So I'm going to come in here and let's create a few solids here. So let's create a polygon, let's say, put that guy right there. Let's create an ellipse. And we'll put, oh, it's like Stewie from Family Guy. So we'll put that right there. And then let's just create a third one. Let's create a rectangle. And let's put that guy right there. So now if I select, now if these things are all kind of over the place, and let's say I want to get them sort of all lined up, I can select them all. And I've got these tools in here, and I've got these distribute tools, and these will kind of line them up for me. I can kind of click on them. And if I get them, oops. So let's say I get them kind of lined up here. And let's select them all. And then I can click here and see, they should probably be all the same size. But now these tools will, see, they're all kind of different sizes. But normally these tools will help you get everything sort of lined up so that they're all in the same line. And then I can move them around and, keep them somewhat organized. So again, I don't know when I will use that feature because I don't do a lot of graphics, but it's there for those of you who are graphically inclined, which is not me. Okay, so I think I have covered all the stuff I wanted to talk about. Just checking here, that is it. Oh, last little thing I'll just mention, I'm not going to show anything, but smart rendering. I don't know how many people use smart rendering, but if you do, there were some improvements to that, speed improvements. Smart rendering, for those of you who don't know, is basically if you have ProRes footage, let's say that you're editing and you don't really do anything to the footage. Let's just say you edit the clips together, but you don't add any effects, you don't do anything like that. And if you've got ProRes 422 and you export out ProRes 422, you get a much faster encode by using smart rendering, because Premiere doesn't have to do the math and re-encode anything. It just takes the clips and sort of reassembles them and makes something new. So smart encoding can speed up your workflow in certain situations. So just in case you were wondering, and there's been some improvements to that. So with that, let's get into the collaborative stuff. I'll come back to my normal workspace here. So we did a whole meeting a few years ago, and I'm not sure how many people that were here were at that meeting, where we actually did it with our Final Cut user group brethren, where we talked about a lot of different collaborative tools, like the client review tools. And I talked about Wipster, Mike Tao talked about Frame.io. I think we covered a couple other ones. I don't remember what we covered because that was pre-pandemic, and who can remember the time before COVID. But so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, because I think most of us use those tools. So tonight's not going to be, on my side at least, covering in depth how Wipster, how Frame.io, and some of these things really work. It's more of just to sort of remind you that they're there. Wipster is a great tool to use for client review. It has a panel that's inside Premiere. It allows, for those of you who aren't familiar with these tools, if that's anybody here, then it's really just a tool to allow clients to be able to make comments on the videos that you post. For instance, I've got some projects here that my company's working on, and I'm trying to think if there's anything I can show you here. So I don't think I'm sure I can show you this one. So of course there's no comments on it. So let me find something that has some comments. Okay, it's going to be super slow here. So let's see if there's anything here that has comments. Of course there's no comments there. Okay, but anyway, so here we go. So yeah, so with Wipster, you've got this, and then underneath it, I've got comments here about the video, and things that they are wanting to change. And then I can go through and, find those right on the timeline and make those changes. I can upload videos to Wipster from here. You can see upload timeline, it can create projects. So, Wipster is great. It has its faults, but it's a great tool to use. But excuse me, to be honest with you, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be a Wipster customer, because getting to what Jeff alluded to, last year, Adobe bought Frame.io, and they've now integrated it into Creative Cloud. So if you're a Creative Cloud member, you now get Frame.io. You get it for free. Now, you get it up to, you have a basic plan that comes with Creative Cloud that has some limitations. You're only allowed 2 members to be a part of your plan. You get 5 projects, and you get up to 100 gigabytes of storage, and it does include the camera to cloud thing. So I'm not going to cover camera to cloud. I might save that. I think we'll save that for another meeting and kind of talk about how that works. But the gist of it is you can be out shooting, and the footage will literally shoot in your camera, get uploaded, and be in your edit bay, in your laptop editing, via the cloud, like instantaneously. It's an amazing technology. So yeah.
You said five projects and 5 gigabytes of storage?
No, 100 gigabytes of storage.
100 gigabytes. Okay, that's what
I believe. I have a little bit of brain fog today, but I believe it's 100 gigabytes, I should say, in addition to the 100 that you get from a Creative Cloud. So you have your 100 gigs that you get from Adobe for just being a Creative Cloud member, and then you have the Frame.io as well. Yeah. So they're not merged together. Okay. And they've added inside Premiere a new review panel. If you come down here, so yeah, we talked about this in that same meeting where we talked a lot about this, but they've got this new, all the choices up that used to be up here for all your different workspaces, they are all now under here. And there is one for review. And if we click on that, you will see it will open up, and there is Frame.io all ready to go. And so, yeah, so if you're familiar with Frame.io and you've used it before, it's all in here now, and it's all tied to your account. If the Creative Cloud limitations aren't good enough for you, you need something bigger, you need more storage, you need more team members, you need more than 5 projects, you can you do have to pay. So you would go to Frame.io and sign up for one of their paid accounts. You can, tie it to your Adobe account, and and then you'll be all set. Or you can create your own account, outside of your Adobe account if you want to,
Their paid account is 100 gig.
The paid account, I believe, for $25 a month, you get more team members, you get more projects, and I think the storage is 250 gigs, 500 gigs.
The one we have for work is 100 gig.
Okay.
And we have 5 team members, I think, 4 or 5.
Here, let me do this. Let's just go and look. Sorry, I should have written this down today, but did not. So we can just, that's what did I type in? Frame.io. Why is not Frame.io coming up? There it is. Pricing. So yeah, so it's for $15 a month, you get the 250 gigs, archival storage, 500 gigs. And then, so the 25, it gets you the maximum of 15 users. Gotcha. And of course you can do it for free. You get the 2 users, and you get the small amount if you don't have Adobe. So anyway, so that is Frame.io. So again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time demoing Frame.io. I know you guys all know how to use it. And we did that previously. If you would like a demo of it, let me know. I can kind of show you how it works, offline. But I think, there's a lot of videos out there that kind of detail how Frame.io works. And I think we all kind of get it. And I'm going to show a different tool that is very similar, but basically you can upload, make comments, and the comments will filter down. Frame.io is really powerful. There's a lot of things it does that Wipster doesn't do. And so that's why I say, when my Wipster year is up, I'll most likely be migrating over to Frame.io since it's built in to Premiere now. I mean, Wipster's kind of built in too, but I love the Wipster guys, but every time there's a new version of Premiere, their panel seems to break, and it takes them like a month or two to get it fixed. And it's like, dude, I'm working now. I got to have a working panel. So I'll probably move over to Frame pretty soon here. But yeah, so Frame is built in now. It's all good to go. And like I said, we can talk about Camera to Cloud a little bit later. So we talked about Wipster, but the thing I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about, and I'm curious to see here, I'm going to turn my little thing back on here. How many people use Dropbox? Not that many, so. I will admit that I have a love-hate relationship with Dropbox. Dropbox it's great for just uploading and sending files around and keeping things, in the cloud. But it can be a little bit wonky sometimes. But one thing that Dropbox has is they've kind of thrown their hat into the mix, and they have their own panel for uploading. So let me come over here. They have what's called Replay, and let me get that panel up. There it is. So here is Dropbox Replay. And it has all the same kind of stuff that you would expect. You can preview clips here. The only thing that I haven't been able to figure out how to make it do is, like with Frame.io and with Wipster, there's an option to click export, and it will open up Media Encoder. It'll send the video up. It'll automatically encode it and post it up into the project folder, and it does all that in the background for you. Replay currently does not do that. So what I would need to do is, if I had my timeline down here and I wanted to upload it, I would have to upload or would encode the timeline. And then within this panel, I can then choose to upload. We come back here. Okay. Again, Replay is in beta right now, and so it's a little wonky sometimes. So let's open it back up again and see if we can make it work here. Did this during rehearsal too, so it's not like it's just freaking out on me. So you can see there's an upload button right here. So like this video down here that I've got, if I was ready to send it off to a client for review, I can click upload, and I can encode it from Premiere. I could come over here and use the quick export button, let's say, and then when it's done, I could click upload here, and then it would upload and send it to the project. The other option that I can do is I can just do it through Dropbox itself. If I open up Dropbox here, let's go to Replay. And you can see this is kind of the same interface. I've got add files here, create a project. I can do all this stuff here. But the nice thing about Replay too is, if I've got clips up on Dropbox now, I can easily just add videos. I don't have to re-upload anything. If it's already on Dropbox, let's say I was using it for something else, and I can just sort of click to add a file, add from Dropbox, and it will just add instantaneously. It doesn't need to re-upload. It can just sort of says, oh, it's just over here. Okay, fine. We'll move that over into Replay for you. Or I can upload like you see here. And it works, very much the same way. So let me come over here. Let's open up this demo file. Let's open up this thing right here. So I've got this video. Let's hit play. And let's just make a comment here. Let's just say I'm going to circle this little kid here and type in here, lose the kid. Yeah, we'll post that. And then let's say we come a little further here, and we'll say, we'll say change the color of the flowers. Some of you might be laughing, but we get comments like this. So, all right, so I've made my 2 comments. And when I come over to, so like this is what I what I would do is after I upload my video to replay, I would send the client a link. They would see this interface, make all their comments just like I'm doing right here. And then if I go back into Premiere, let's open up my file here. You can see my comments are right there. And what I can do is come up here, click import comments. And you can see it's just like Frame, just like Wipster. It's made some markers on my timeline. And if I click up here, it will take my CTI right to where those the changes need to happen. And I can kind of see what the comment is and see the circle up here. You know, and once I make it, I can click resolve. And so that wipes the comment away because I've fixed it. But, you know, it works very much the same way as Frame and Wipster does, just without a lot of the bells and whistles. But the thing about it that's nice is that if you already have a Dropbox account and you use Dropbox quite a bit, this is built into it. I mean, right now it's in beta, and I think anybody can use it at this point. I don't know if it's going to be a paid add-on later, but for the moment, it's free, it's usable, and it does the trick. You know, it's not elegant all the time. It's not perfect. Like I said, Frame and Wipster, I think, are far more advanced tools for this. But I think Dropbox is you know, it's still in beta. They're working on it, and it's got some usable stuff for, you know, for free if you're already a Dropbox user. So, you know, I think it's worth checking out. Sorry for the question. How many gigabytes can you send? Are you talking about posting up onto Dropbox? And feel free to unmic yourself or unmute yourself and ask the question.
No, I was, hi, Eric. I was thinking to send it with the comments, like how many gigabytes would they allow you to send?
Oh, I don't know. Well, to make the comments, the comments don't eat up a lot of space. So.
No, I know, but I mean, you're still sending the video, aren't you?
Well, you're posting the video to Dropbox, and then
Okay.
Dropbox is doing the hosting. So the client doesn't have to download anything.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, sorry, I should have made that more clear. So
No worries.
yeah, they're viewing everything in a web browser. So as soon as I click share here, let me close this up. I click share, review and comment. I can choose to let them download it if I want to, but they're just going to download a file. They can just watch the file. They can't comment on it. But I can click comment and review and click copy link. And then that will send them a link that will let them see something like this that they can then comment on. You notice there was also a view only link. But, you know, for those clients whose opinion you don't really care to hear, you just want to show them what you did. That's what you would use this for, because it just gives them a view only link. So, and you can see there's versions here. So if you do have more versions of the video, you can upload those, you know, and you've got that up here as well. You've got, you know, multiple versions. So you can have, and the latest version will always be on top. But if that client wants to go back and say, hey, what was that thing we did 3 versions ago that was really cool? Let's put that back in. You can go back and find it and then, you know, reference that. So you can kind of stack versions. And again, that's common across all of these tools. They all sort of have that ability to be able to do that.
Great.
So yeah, so that's replay from Dropbox. Again, it's in beta. As you can tell, it doesn't always work. Sometimes it freaks out a little bit, but you know, when it does work, it's pretty cool. And I don't know, it's been in beta for a long time, so I have to assume at some point they're going to just like throw it out in the wild and we're going to have a regular version of it. So the last thing I was going to talk about, well, actually not the last thing, second to last thing is for those of you who okay, so before I do that, I'm going to take a little poll to see if this is really worth kind of covering here. So how many people here still use Vimeo? Do you use the review feature of Vimeo?
No, we're all free.
You know that there's a review feature in Vimeo.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So Vimeo has a review feature as well, but and I'm hesitant to talk about Vimeo just because there's a lot of people that I still use Vimeo, and a lot of people do. There's a lot of people that are moving away from Vimeo just because they are kind of tired of, I guess Vimeo is starting to really charge a lot for some people who use it quite a bit. And there's a lot of people that feel like Vimeo is not going to be the cool, you know, video sharing site anymore because of kind of the way that the company's moving. So, but they do offer it. If we come here, let me see if I can just real quick here. I don't have a pro account. I only have the plus account. So I don't have the full access to it, but I can quickly kind of show you what theirs is like. So let's pick this video right here. Oops, got to come back here. So we'll click on this. So this is their review panel. So it's the same kind of principle. Copy link, share the link with somebody. They'll open this up, they'll play it. And while the video is playing, they can click anywhere, make a comment, and it'll list all the comments here. Now, these don't, as far as I've understood it, and I've never been able to play with it because I'm not a pro user, these don't filter down into your timeline like the others do. Excuse me. So that is one reason why I think Vimeo, I think it's good that they have this. It's kind of cool, but you got to pay the extra money for Pro to be able to really use it. It doesn't filter into your timeline. There's no panel for Premiere that I've seen that lets you have that same level of integration. So, again, I know a lot of people use Vimeo for client review anyway. They post it up to Vimeo and then send their clients a Vimeo link to sort of like preview and look at their videos. So if that's your workflow, this might be a good way to go. But for me, it's kind of like, I don't know that I would really want to use this. The last thing I've got that I kind of wanted to talk about, and this was a company that I met at NAB. And let me call their website up. There it is. Actually, it's IO. These guys I met at NAB, and I'm going to spend my last minutes kind of talking about them. So what they do is they're kind of Dropbox, client review, long-term storage, all wrapped into one. So they provide a service where you can upload all of your footage to them. If I were to hire, let's say Mark Mason, if I hired him to go do a shoot for me, I wouldn't even have to, meet up with Mark or get the cards from Mark. I can send Mark a link to request an upload, and from his house at night, he could just put in his card. He can click the link that I send him. They have some sort of accelerated upload, and he could upload all the footage that he shot for me that day up to this system. It would upload into whatever folder I told it to. It would make proxy files for me if I told it to. And then the next morning when I come into my office, I could then download all the data, all the files and all the footage, and I would have it to start working with inside Premiere or, from my hard drive. Or I could just download the proxies and work with those until I'm ready to really online and then download all the originals. But everything would sort of be up in the cloud. It also, they are working on a Premiere panel to be able to do reviews, to do client reviews, kind of like what Wipster, Vimeo do. They gave me a preview of it at NAB. It looked pretty cool. Same kind of features with markers and everything else. But I don't think that's out publicly yet. I think they're still working on it. But the kind of the cool thing is that once I'm all done, I don't know about many of you, but right over here, I don't know if you guys can see me with the screen sharing, but right to my right, I have a shelf here at my office that is full of hard drives with footage going back like literally a decade or more. And so I'm getting sick of a hard drive. So long-term storage, that's become a thing. So the fact that I can upload everything here and store it. Now, I know a lot of people are using different services like Backblaze or whatever to upload all their stuff to, and then it saves it someplace. This sort of is great to me because it's everything sort of right there. I can use it for client review, I can use it to have people, upload their footage to me. So everything just sort of lives there. And then I can have them long-term store stuff. And I believe the cost, okay, so I got to remember this now from NAB, but I believe if you want footage like instantaneously that's been long-term stored, you fall under a price tier that is basically $10 a month per terabyte. If you're willing to wait, I think they said between 12 and 14 hours for the clips that you need pulled from storage, then it moves down to $5 a month per terabyte of long-term storage. And all of your stuff, you can at any time go into their interface and preview it and scrub it and look at it and say, oh yeah, let me go find that shot with whoever, find the clips that you need, click on them to say, okay, I need all that stuff from storage. And then, if you do the cheaper option, you just have to wait the time and then it'll show up in your download folder or something like that. So anyway, these guys are really, really cool. I like what they're doing. I'm really kind of giving them a look and thinking about using them because I got to do something with long-term storage, and they sound like they have a really cool system. And I like being able to, as somebody who hires shooters kind of across the country and people to work remotely, sometimes it would be really cool to be able to have that footage all up in the cloud and not have to worry about it. So anyway, so these guys are definitely worth Alteon, definitely worth checking out if that's any of that sounds interesting to you. So,
Eric, question on that.
yes.
On Alteon, is it just folders, or can you tag things? Is it like a dam where you could tag and, categorize things so you could, find footage, say I want footage of the ocean, of different shots I've had of the beach or like that.
You're asking me to remember NAB from 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, Jeff, but I believe, if my foggy clouded mind from too much kid activity is correct, that yes, you can meta tag stuff so that you can go in and then search to find things. Yes, I believe that was one of the things that they showed me. So they gave me a demo. I'm not gonna lie to you. They gave me a demo near the end of my day where my legs were turning into jello and my mind was a little fuzzy. But I believe, so I may not be 100% correct on all that, but I'm like 98% correct. I feel pretty sure about everything I just said.
So I know you don't. Go ahead, Eric. Finish.
No, go ahead.
So this sounds like at some point you could use this as a collaborative edit as well. If you wanted to have Patrick work on an edit or another guy,
yep.
All your files could be up on Alteon and you just download what you want. You cut this, you cut this, you cut this.
Yes, absolutely. That's yeah, that's absolutely it. And when I talked to them, they were real. The guy that I spoke to was really super cool. His whole thing was, he goes, look, we're not going after major studios. He goes, we're going after the small and medium-sized production companies. He goes, guys like you, because we know where you're at and budget-wise. That's why they're trying to keep the cost down. And he's trying to find ways to be more collaborative, that we can be more collaborative in the tools. And yes, that was one thing that they talked about, is that, yeah, all that footage is up there. So yeah, Mark, if I hired you to edit something, Pat to edit something, Jeff to edit something, all of that footage would be up there and you could all pull it down and work on it collaboratively.
That's cool.
So yeah. Like I said, the cost is like $10 a month to join, I think. Yeah, so you get free 10 gigabits. Standard is, for 250 gigs is $9.99 a month. And then, you just kind of goes up on how much space you want. I mean, it's not that expensive. It's like amazingly cheap. So anyway, Jeff, I think I cut you off here.
No, I was just say it's a lot cheaper than the AEM. And looks like it provides some of the features that you look for in a DAM.
Yep. So yeah, it's definitely, like I said, I would definitely say check them out if that's something that would interest you, because I think they're all very, very cool, and they look like they've got some cool stuff. So
you may have just made my night. That may be an answer to us. We've been looking at DAMs for a long time.
Hey, look, that's okay. I'm done. So with that, I'm out. I helped one person tonight. That's all I needed to do.
Can I ask one question related to
yes,
Premiere? I noticed when I updated Photoshop recently that the first time I did a save, it really, really encouraged me to go to the cloud, and was very upset with me when I wanted to save it to my local drive. Is Premiere moving in that direction? Premiere and AE moving in that direction where they want you to do things in the cloud and not do things locally?
So I don't know, because I'm not privy to that kind of stuff. And even if I did know, I'd probably be under NDA and I couldn't say, but I will say this. I would doubt that. And the reason I would say is that Photoshop files tend to be a lot smaller than the video files that we do. You can actually turn, I hear you on that dialog box when I use Photoshop drives me nuts, but there is a toggle that you can turn that off so you don't see it, I believe. But no, I don't expect to see that with the video apps, just by sheer fact that the video files are just ginormous, so I don't see how they could do that. So
that's what I thought, but
yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah. And then to answer some questions, so Charlene brings up a good point about, but then they have all your stuff and raise the price later. Yeah. You run that risk. There is that risk, but you can always, opt out, I guess, and then just download everything and then just get out of it. That's a good point. You run that risk with anything though. I mean, listen, the reason I have stacks of hard drives back on these shelves behind me over here is simply because, I know everybody tells me, well, What if your office burns down? Well, what if Google burns down? What if this happens? Whatever. There's no guarantees. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to just pick and choose.
Yep.
So yeah, I know. And listen, I don't think you're being cynical. I think you're being realistic, because let's face it, nothing, stays the same cheap price. It's the drug dealer mentality. They get you in, they hook you, and then, you start paying through the nose. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and Lucid Link, any thoughts on that? So, Lucid Link is pretty amazing in its own way. And I really want to get somebody to come talk about that, because what they do is really amazing. For someone like me, Lucid Link isn't really something that I would need. I think it's for bigger shops than what I am. That being said, if enough people in the group feel like, that's something that they want me to get someone from Lucid Link in to talk, I know a guy who works there, and I know a guy who could talk about it really well. I would be happy to line up a meeting where we cover Lucid Link and how that could really impact people's workflows. I think if they have a great product, and it might be definitely something to cover in a future meeting for sure. Just kind of looking at Lucid automatically backslash Wasabi. It's nice. It's a bit clunky. Frame is easier on the eyes, and that's one thing too about Frame. Frame does allow you to store a lot of assets up in its cloud, but you're limited by whatever your plan is. And so that's the downside to using Frame. I don't think Frame's a good long-term storage tool, which is kind of what I like about the Alteon deal, is that it's kind of got everything. It's got, Dropbox is great for just uploading big files and sharing them with people, but long-term storage, it's like, okay, do I want it? Dropbox can get pricey pretty quick. And then, but this thing kind of covers everything. It's got all the different things that I need. So
I think as I'm rereading this, I'm confusing Lucid with Iconic.
Oh, okay.
The Iconic interface is a bit clunky.
Yeah. So it's better than Dropbox. Most things are better than Dropbox. They ain't gonna lie to you. So Dropbox is, like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with Dropbox. On days where I just need to get files to clients, it's great. And then there are other days where I need to do X, Y, or Z, and it drives me nuts because it's a little bit more advanced, and Dropbox just sucks. Like, no one's been ever able to explain to me how when someone shares a file or folder with me in Dropbox, somehow it counts that against my storage. And I never really seem to be able to get that loose. And I'm always scared to delete those shared folders that people shared with me, because is it really deleting it for good or not? I don't. So anyway,
Yeah.
Dropbox drives me nuts, but
it's better than SharePoint / OneDrive.
Yeah,
I will say that. Welcome to my hell.
Yeah, no, OneDrive. Yeah, don't get me started on OneDrive.
Yeah, no, they made us drop Dropbox and use OneDrive instead at work.
The last complaint I will make will be, and listen, I have a Pixel phone. I love Google. I'm fully invested into their metaverse, whatever you want to call it. But Google Drive is, whenever a client sends me a Google Drive link to download something, I just want to punch a hole in the wall, because Google Drive is the absolute worst for sharing video files. Absolute worst. It is, but it doesn't have to be Google. But anyway, they don't listen to me. So, all right, with that, I am all done. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to take them before I turn things over to DJ, who's going to have a lot of cool information. Any last things for me? I see one chat question here. Mike's, yes. Okay, good. Someone feels my pain with Google Drive. All right, well, with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay.
We integrate with Google Drive. Our product does. So
You do what?
Our product integrates with Google Drive and Microsoft both. So I drink heavily.
I would too if I were you. All right, DJ, you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to caveat everything I'm about to say with if you use these, if you use one of the things I'm about to show, you are most likely going to be like, wow, he totally doesn't get it. There's so much more it can do, because the things I'm about to show, if you work in Premiere, if you work in After Effects, they're big programs that can do a lot of things. You might use Premiere for years, and then someone comes along and says, can you do multicam? You might, and you use areas, you touch all areas of it. Same goes with After Effects. there's certain things in this that I'm not going to ever do because I don't hire out full-time employees. My clients don't do X with me. So if I cover something and you're like, there's a really cool thing it does, like by all means, stop me and let me know, because I'm going to show you what I use and how I use them. Because yeah, like, so Eric just kind of went over like how to end the project, how to wrap things up, how to get the feedback, that kind of stuff. We're going to talk here about the quarterback. So how do you, like, when you get in, a project, how do you intake it? How do you keep it from becoming a big old mess? And not just, not from like a media management issue as much as like from a project management issue. So we're going to talk about 4 things. There's going to be 2 things that we talk about that are, there's going to be Milanote and Notion, and then there's going to be ClickUp and Asana. Okay. I'm going to do the ones that I recommend first, and I'll tell you why, and then we'll kind of go from there. So Milanote. Milanote is over here, and Milanote is a project management tool that is really good for animation. It's good for editing. It's good for any kind of design. So imagine this. I'm not even sharing. Here, I'm talking slow so that I can open it up, and I'm not
just
even
about
sharing.
to say something like, should we be seeing your screen, man? Because I'm just seeing you.
All right. There we go. You seeing it now?
All good.
Cool. Okay, so this is Milanote. Imagine Milanote is a gigantic whiteboard that you can just, that you can share with people, that you don't have to share with people. It's a place you can put ideas. It also works as kind of like one of those boards that if you're tracing like a serial killer and you can connect the strings, also works in that way. So this is basically like, this is what you have when you open Milanote. It's just a big old chunky board, but it goes on forever because I don't need to. It's not too scannable, but like I can drag it around. It goes on forever. But so let's go ahead and hop in and see like what can we use with this. So you've got home, you've got your notes. So if we were wanting to create a new board, I created one when I was playing with it earlier when I tested this, but all right. So we can go in and we've got new note, new link, new to do, new line, new board, new column, blah, blah, blah. So this is like your home board. Okay. You can create new boards within that. So let's go ahead and just create a new board. So we're going to hop into a new board, and down here, it's got templates, and the templates are kind of the quickest way to get started with something like this. So let's just say, for example, that Agency Hub's a really popular one, project plan, mood board. Advertising brief. Let's do an advertising brief. So what that auto populates is you can drop references in here. Then you can put in some insight. You can have different links in here. You can share, just kind of comments. Then you can have a checklist of deliverables. You can keep your color palette here. You can keep your brand. And the nice thing is about this is you can invite an entire team to do this. So if you are working, let's say that you're the editor and you are working with brand and you're working with someone like me that does graphics and you're working with a sound person, all of this is going to be savable. You can, one of the things I always like to put up my top left anytime I'm working with a group is always to the Google Drive, to the and 2 different assets, the ones that people are always asking for. Well, it's got like, if you need logos, you click right there, that kind of thing. But in this case, it talks about the client. So you've kind of got your brief here, you've got the brand, and the whole thing is just a brief that's broken out, but it's a place that you can come and drop stuff in. So let's say that you don't want to use that one, maybe, but you want to use a mood board. Here you can just start throwing together pictures, that kind of thing. A usability testing plan, because a lot of people use this for user interface design, user experience design. Agency Hub's kind of the same thing. And you don't have to use a template, but they're just kind of good ways to get ideas. There's, and then you can also go into use this template. That's not actually what I meant to press. So let's go ahead and create a new board real fast just to get that. All right, so let's, and then we can go to more templates, and they have them for film and TV. So if you wanted to come in with a beat sheet, you wanted to get a storyboard together, you could put it together in this. Call sheets, boom, here's your call sheet. It's got your talent, it's got your crew, locations, project. This would be shareable out. So, and they have an app so that you can check it on the go. So let's just look at, let's dive in quick. So I guess we're going to hop into executive session because I don't think I'm going to show anything that you shouldn't see. But don't tell everybody about it either, just because, why you want to be like that. So I'm working on the big baby boom now, and this is kind of the one I've just started. So over here, I've got the list of deliverables, and I can put dates with those. I'm going to be putting dates with those later. But this is, so this, I know everything, I can check it off. Once this column's complete, project is done. Over here, I've got a straight link to the music library that's being updated on the go, so that I never have to ask, like, what's the new music library? It stays in one place. I can always go here. I've got the branding things here. That's just about little fonts and different things about, the font, the things. This is our storyboards from last year on that. This is a piece that shows where each of the barges are, where they're going to be shooting off the fireworks, so that when I go in to create those graphics, it's right there. I've got some reference here. I pull in reference pretty sparingly onto these, because I like to, I usually mostly use Pinterest for reference, but I've got this, and then I've got, another reference video here that is, that's shareable out. If I want to then, build it further out, we get, you can create another to-do list. You can add links. Just, these are little notes. I could then create another board. Like if I wanted to, I could take all of this, and I probably will, as this gets busier and as I get more, materials, I will probably go in and use a storyboard template to kind of create, and to clean this stuff up. Then I'll probably create another template, for reference, so that I can start throwing more reference in. I mean, I'm only on day 2 of the project at this point. But, that's a way. Then furthermore, if I wanted to, we could quickly throw in, a column, line all these up in a column so that it's a little bit more organized. When I've got a lot more going on, it extends the column down. Let's see if we wanted to create another board, and then we threw it up in here, and it's recursive, so that you can kind of keep, this is an in progress. This is where I put stuff when I was waiting for feedback, and this is where it is completed. So once it's completed, you can go into export. You can save it as, you can save the whole thing as a PDF, a PNG, Word documents, a few different ways. I usually just save it as a high quality PDF. And it's, it's enough for me, it kind of gets the job done. But yeah, then you can even, and if you're sharing a board with someone, you could go in and throw a comment and be like, and then, so you got a little, this sucks, and you could put a line to like this. And put a little, this sucks, and then you can arrange it. And so you're saying that sucks. So it is a way to kind of, and if you were sharing this project with me, you would be seeing that happen in real time. So it's really like this. The reason I like this one is it's cheap. It's like $50. And I think that could be per year, might be for all time. I'm not sure. It's one of those that happens. I happen to have it renew every like Black Friday. So if you've bought a bunch of stuff through the Black Friday sales, as many of us have, your subscriptions all start then. So you're like, oh, the $50 one, no big deal. Like I don't care, because my Adobe, my Cinema 4D, and I have 15 other things that, making my November credit card bill horrible. But yeah, and you can go in, you can add maps, you can add videos, documents, and you can even throw in little sketches. So if you're like, if you want to, you could kind of put something like that together and sketch out an idea that you have. Like if you're wanting to make it a little bit more serious, you could say like, put a blocking diagram in, you could put a quick light diagram in. And you don't have to bother going into like Photoshop and trying to create this whole like thing. Again, the reason I like this one more than so many of the others is, for one, it's not too much. And it's, and it's useful for pretty much anything you want to do. Like the last 2 vacations I've taken, I actually invited my wife to one, and we planned the whole thing on this, because she was able to like put a link, to an idea, whatever. And it just works really well for that kind of stuff. Like you throw a link to your frame and a link to where your stuff is, and you're going to have a really, like you already have the beginnings of a nice kind of agency setup. Now, obviously, like if you're just doing this, if you're just working for yourself, by yourself, you don't necessarily need to share so much, but it's still, to me, a very good way. Like it's your notebook, it's where you kind of sketch out your ideas. It's where you keep track of what your deliverables are. You've got to do it somewhere, and that's kind of like my the thing I really like about this one is it's just lightweight. The app is super easy. I'm not hopping into like a whole corporate structure. And they have a browser app if you use Chrome and probably some others. I use Chrome, to where if you want to, you can easily send stuff to Milanote as your reference. So you just click on an image, sends it over there. You can click on a video, it sends it there. To the point where like it's kind of annoying when I'm using Chrome at times because I'm sending stuff to random Milanotes that I don't want to. But it's, there's not a lot to show with it because it, like, I just showed you how to use the whole thing. It's very easy to kind of navigate, because let's say you just keep creating boards. It just becomes like a folder structure up here, to where if you want to go back up to the home, boom. And, then you can hop back in, dive down as far as you want. You could, we could keep going for a while. Put a project plan out there so that we've got, and again, the project plan, it's just a nice way to kind of organize everything. It keeps all the relevant details that you want. And the nice thing is these things are, from what I can tell, kind of infinitely scalable. So you're not going to run into a project that is too big. If you're, I know some of our members have worked on shows that are very episodic, or that are episodic. They actually have episodes. You could easily have one board, that covers the entire show. And that board would have logos, fonts, colors, pictures of cast. The Bible, not the King James version, but like the show Bible. And then you could have a board for each episode. You'd be able to organize the entire thing by column. You could, break it out that way. And it's just very flexible in that way. I've used it for projects as small as like a logo design that I just needed to pull some things from. And I've used it, I use this on the World Cup. I've used this for, very big projects. So this is the one that totally works for me.
Hey,
Any questions on Milanote?
Well, if anybody else does, I'll let you go first, and then I have one. Okay, nobody. So I'm going in. Hey, the obviously the call sheet like thing template was kind of interesting to me. How? So like, okay, so yeah, it's right there. Oh, there you go. So if I build a call sheet in here, how do you, is there a way to export this? I thought you said there was a way to export this out, but how would I export this out? Like, what are my export choices?
You could save it to a PDF, a PDF that's standard, so small file size. You could save it to a high-res PDF, PNG, Word documents, Markdown. I don't know what Markdown is.
Okay.
And then plain text. And I've never exported to plain text because all mine are pretty image intense. But I've exported to PNGs, PDFs, and Word documents, and they're great. Word documents really nice because it makes the links more accessible. Like PNG will obviously get rid of them.
Well, so like, what does it look like? So if you were to export this out, what is that like as a PDF, let's say? Okay.
Generating. Now is it doing that because it is a time? Oh wait, I hadn't clicked use this template. Okay, I was like, what's up with that? I know that's okay.
Oh, so
you export.
Okay.
PNG. I was still in preview mode of.
Got it.
Generates, takes a second. There we go, and then it lays it out like that.
Oh, okay.
You could also rotate. If it depends on how you arrange it. If you wanted it to be portrait, you could lay it out portrait.
Okay.
So you have the ability to sort that.
Okay.
So it would be something more along these lines. You could throw out the schedule, day 1, day 2, have the times there.
Okay.
And the way that, just to hop over, the way that you kind of set time deadlines for things is, like let's say over here for promo elements, you can, what is it? You can assign it to people here, assign to, and then me, because I'm the only person on this one. And then you can also set a due date, and like, let's say it's due tomorrow, and it just, and then it would come up, it turns, you've got red, green, when it's due tomorrow, it turns red when it's late. So, that you can, even at a quick glance, it's color coded enough to where like you might, you'd know like, oh, these are the late ones or whatever. So yeah, but yeah, the call sheet's really fantastic. I've actually gotten at least one call sheet like this. I don't get call sheets that often. And maybe it's self-selecting because I know a lot of people that use Milanote, but it's super easy. It's super nice way to keep it organized. And also it's just kind of a nice template for it. Because yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got an old Excel document that I ripped off from another production company that I use for my call sheets, and this seems a lot cleaner and nicer than the mess that I have.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is when I say this is $50, that's for like pro, like the advanced. It's free to use. You can all hop in and start using this. And I don't remember what the limitations are on it, but like I used it.
It's $50 for up to 10 people annually, $49.99, and $99 for 50 people.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I use, and it's free. I think if it's just you. I've used, I share out from time to time, so I keep the $50. But like you can export and send those PDFs, like they're not locked, that you could, so so if you're just using it to create kind of printables and or sendables, totally good.
Amazing, cool, dude.
Yeah,
it's totally
it's awesome. Over. And it's got your checklist. It's got what the project is. You can have as many maps as you need. Like I said, you can make it 50 pages long. So yeah, it's cool. And then just to hop in, I mean, I know I kind of like went through these. You've got film brainstorming, so that you can do a kind of like a lot of mind mapping stuff in this. And they also have some templates on their site that I haven't dove as much into, but they've got pre-production plans so that you can start breaking it out. But all of it's kind of built on the same thing of just a bunch of boxes that you can you do whatever you want with. But yeah, they've got a special thing just for motion design, so that you can do style frames, design briefs, project plans. But they've got it for startups, students, writing. So there's a bunch in here. Story maps if you're doing a writing thing, so that you can put out your different chapters or whatever it may be. So yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, so this one's cool. It's but one of the issues is that it is so excuse me. It's so it's just boxes, which a lot of you might have used Trello. I hate Trello because it's just boxes, but I like this because it's boxes I can move. It's just a little bit more, it's like a creative Trello. So that's this one. The next one we're going to talk about, I recommend you use if your brain works like this. My brain, I tried to make my brain work like this and it didn't, but I know tons of people that use this and it's fantastic. And it's great. So it's called Notion. Has anyone used Notion before? Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. Because I was going to say, if so, then I'll let you explain. No. Okay. So what Notion is Notion is a way to, it's similar to, it does a similar job to Milanote, but the kind of bonus to Notion is that it's so incredibly flexible. Like a lot of people use this to create kind of the structure and project management for their life. Like, and I'm not exaggerating to say that, like all your checklists can live in Notion. So what Notion is you create databases, and it's basically just a pretty, covering over the database. And so, for example, like I've got one loaded in here that I tried to create. So here, it opens up, you've got your daily, you can create a daily dashboard, and every day you can go in and check off the things that are easy and challenging. You can, and these are meta tagged so that you can group them by other things. And if you have an easy task up here, link to another easy task down here, you can, so that you can kind of create lists and look at kind of help structure your day. So for example, like on this to-do list, reply to emails, read 10 pages of like a workbook, just check in at a couple, different jobs, take meds, all of that was easy, then like, off work by like end of nap, because I have a 4-year-old, nap time was a thing. You can tell I haven't updated this because we're long past the nap days, my friends. But it was still and it was something where you can go in every day, it let you know your success rate. You can then go into different tables. You can see it in table calendar view, and once you start, you can start creating your calendar in here, and you can also import it, I believe, from Google, from Apple, different things, and it'll kind of give you a to-do list that auto populates here that can also be linked back to the metadata of easy, challenging, and the different things that you have set up there. So for example, if I have, to send someone an invoice, that'll be green, and that's set on the 11th, and then on the 12th, so I can look at my challenge, what are my challenging tasks of the week. I'd be able to delineate it that way so that I can help plan my week out better. You can also set it up as tables so that you're looking at it this way. So planning this month is, I'm going to fix my website this quarter, so that you can create lists, but your list isn't just this kind of jumble of a fire drill. You can say like, okay, I have to I have to complete this class, and I want to hire a window washer for my house, and I'm going to do it this quarter. My windows have been washed since then, so I can take that one off. But you can set the priorities, and all of this is stuff that you can create. So I created the little fire system. I created the monthly system, and you can set the different due dates. And it's just, I put it down to even due taxes versus like complete, finish watching my favorite show. Then down here, you can have galleries to the master task list. The master task list comes directly here, but here you can kind of create little clickable things that tell you a little bit more about it. You can kind of talk a little bit about what it is. So for example, let's say that you have to do a video for the Padres. You could, up here, it just keeps saying Padres video, but what if you're working on 2 videos for the Padres? Then you can come down here and you can put in, a little bit of details about it, and you can put whatever you want. I mean, again, this is very much kind of like in that Milanote world of like, it's whatever you want it to be. Then you can then separate those things like, so here I have different colors that are codified for my company versus home projects versus things I'm doing for Natus versus things that I'm doing because like we have to pay taxes. You can also then delineate them by business task or whatever, personal growth, different things like that. And then also your personal task can be delineated as health or learning to play guitar in my case. That's just in your daily dashboard. Getting started, you have another thing here, and that's just it's ways, and I didn't fill this one out as much, but it gives you can put here like your first steps on each of those tasks. Quick notes, this is where you would kind of put stuff if they have an app as well. And this is, most people use this as like a temporary storage before it goes into the main thing. So if you're out and you're like, oh, I gotta like get whatever, I've got to get a new battery for my camera, like you jot that down. And it's kind of just short-term storage, short-term memory, that kind of thing. Personal home, that's where you can kind of put, you're like, here's where you kind of put your personal stuff. So the one thing I'll say is even all of these things, like showing you this is kind of weird because you could set it to be whatever you want. What I will say is there are countless people online that will give you free templates. Use one of those. That's basically what this was, is I got a template from a dude and started making it work for me. But they, people who are far better at database systems than I am, or probably any of us are, they've gone in and created this, and it's just a really nice way to project manage your life. Because we all know, there's the thing that you haven't done. Maybe you didn't, and set it up to, you've not hired window washers or whatever it may be. Not that said, you don't have to use it for your entire life. You can, it is usable just for work stuff too. And that's mostly, like I think where it is strongest, because you're not dealing with so much minutia. But yeah, you would, in that case, you would set up, perhaps one of these for each client. You'd be able to codify, you'd be able to color code each client. You'd be able to set, different kind of delineations within that. So if you're working with Padres marketing and Padres in-game, you'd be able to have color codes for that, so that you'd be able to see, not only each project for them, because those would have their own color codes, but you'd also be able to see like, when's the last time I reached out to this client? You'd be able to then set a reminder to reach out every quarter, every whatever your touch base for your CRX is going to be. And so you kind of have this constant thing. You can set up a reading list, so so that you kind of stay on track with like development. And reading list, it's not just books. A lot of people, you can drop it from QuickNote, like you can just a blog for a website, whatever it may be, can be dropped in here. And then personal CRM, they've got little template, like the template shows how it's built. So, and so that you can kind of set up your own. The things that's great about this is, again, how flexible it is, that you can log in, you can have it across devices. You go to Notion. I think it's Notion.co, but I'm not sure about that. But you can go to their website on your grandmother's computer and it'll open fine, and you can look at everything. Like, so if you don't have the app, if you don't have your phone, it's everywhere. Same as Milanote. Milanote has a cool little app that I like, but they also, you can do it from their websites. The thing that I don't like about it is how this template works. We use this in the status column of the table above. Like for me personally, it felt like I was spending a lot of time to set up and maintain a system that wasn't working for me. Eric can attest, I suck at paperwork. I am very like, I'll send him invoices. Sometimes I won't send him an invoice for weeks. Sometimes I'll send him 3 of the same invoice. Sometimes I'll forget altogether. Like I'm very, it's not my strength to deal with that kind of stuff. And so for me, this system felt like it was a lot of work to maintain. And every system implies the violence of its own maintenance. And this one, there was a lot of violence of its own maintenance for me personally. Now, I know tons of people that work in this. I think that like the entire system of Motion Hatch, which is like a motion design school, runs off on Motion. A lot of the people in like Zach with formerly Fitness and Post, now Optimize Yourself, he's a big Notion fan too, I believe. He's still mostly in Trello, but he's used Notion for some stuff to guide things. I know shows that run in this. It's great if that's the way your brain works. Mine does not. Mine is much more of a puke draft, Milanote, throw stuff on a wall. I can move stuff around. That works for me. But and like you don't have to get in and code this, especially like if you're working with this template. It just annoys me. If anything, I actually can code. It's just this kind of stuff when I'm, when I want to click things, just bothered me personally. But it's super flexible. I think it's free. Again, I didn't check the thing, but yeah, it updates all the time. There's a huge, like it's one of those things like Blender or like Resolve, where there's this huge community of like, because it's free or like next to free, there's this huge online community that like is all about it. And they just want to help you do everything in it. And so they, so they will, do that. Hey, bud. How's it going, buddy? Oh, okay, thanks. You can just hop back over. I'll be right over. Hey, Eric. Fill time for a moment.
Okay. You got some. Okay. Let's see. So.
Oh, never mind. Sorry. We're good.
Oh, good. Because I had nothing.
No, he was just coming to say hello. There was an intensity. It's concerned. Okay. So, I'd probably be able to pick up faster if I had just gotten slapped by Will Smith. Where do I go from here? Okay, yes. So that, they're exportable. You can pin it to your side, this page to your sidebar. That's the way things get to your sidebar, is you can create favorites, that way. And it's completely flexible. The look of it is completely flexible in that it's going to kind of look like this. One of the things that, did bug me too was like a lot of times you'll get into stuff and there's parts of it that feel a little spreadsheety, but it's got your updates. It's got, and it's shareable. You can set your members and you can connect different apps. Jira connects to this, GitHub connects to it. Jira is another one of the things like we're about to talk about. We're not going to talk about Jira specifically, but yeah, upgrades. So, okay, there's the pricing plan for Notion. So unlimited pages, and you can have 1 person and 5 guests. File uploads are limited to 5 megs. But to be fair, you're not going to use this for files. Like you can, but I just don't see it a whole lot. It's very text-based. It's a database system. But yeah, you have access to everything, and that's all free. For $4 a month, you can have unlimited guests and unlimited file uploads. And you have 30 days of version history. So like, and it goes on. I mean, if you're doing some of this big stuff, you can do bulk PDF exports and whatever, and support for 20. I can't imagine the support actually being useful because like I said, there's a huge community online that they want to help you so bad with this. Actually, I'm going to look up real fast what the dude's name is. Like he's like an influencer that's all about like Notion. So, and he sells his Notion templates. They're usually like $4. Jesse. But yeah, any questions on Notion? Jesse Showalter. He also does a lot. He has a lot of like interesting like design and kind of video stuff too. He does a lot of stuff, but he uses Notion. He's a big evangelist for it. Yeah. Any questions there? Cool. All right. So the next one we're going to talk about, we're going to start getting into like the corporate project management stuff. So if you're using these, there's one of 2 reasons. One, you really like the user interface. You need the power. Like this totally works for single individuals. I typically find that these are the ones that companies love. Like, I mean, so the first one we're going to talk about is Asana. Asana is used by tons of companies. It's huge. I'm sure you've seen their billboards. It's good. It's nice. So like this is, what I see when I log in, and it's got down here, it's got your frequent collaborators. These are all the people that you work with frequently, and it's got your priorities. Things can be assigned to you, and then they show up in your priorities. Like right now, I know that I have to update. I have to update this list of things. It shows you when things are overdue. And this allows you to put people on the, this allows people to put things on your to-do list. You can put things on other people's to-do list. It shows up. Then you can go in and see you're completed. These are the things I've recently completed. These, it shows you, these are the different projects that you're currently working on and who are your collaborators. And you can kind of customize this, but this is just kind of your, obviously the home. It's got an inbox so that you can see who you're communicating with, and you kind of, it's not like really instant messaging. It's more keeping track of the communication on different parts of the project. So let's just hop into a task. I've only got one right now, but the nice thing about it is, so like this is the task I'm assigned. I have to upload some stuff to Google Drive. Once I come up here and mark complete, that's going to unlock tasks for other people. So that's the reason that, my task list is so, blank here, is because I might be working on several projects, but if there's nothing I'm working on right now, if nobody's waiting on me for anything, then I don't have to look at this big long list of, that can be overwhelming. These are just the things that I need to do, right? Well, these are just the things that I need to do right now. And once you click something, that'll open up tasks for different people if it's, if it's set up that way. So if you were, let's say that you are an editor, and you're kind of running the project, you shot it. Let's say you're Eric, just for, because we all know what Eric does generally, I guess. So you would come in and you would set a task for me, for DJ, to do graphics on something. And you would have, round one of graphics. Once DJ clicks approve on graphics, that unlocks the task for me to put the graphics in. Once I put the graphics in, that unlocks the task for the client, who I've shared this with, to go in and look at revisions. So that instead of having to, go in and tell the client like, hey, there's revisions, it unlocks for them as soon as possible. And then you don't have to go in and say like, hey, are you finished looking at your revisions? Because they would look at they'd look at them, they'd say like what they want fixed, then they would click mark, and they'd mark that as complete. That would then go back to Eric and say, time to review. And it would, so you kind of create this branching tree that works that way. The drawback of that is, for example, on this project that is here, we had 3 rounds of revisions and they only set up for 2. As most of us usually account for 2 rounds of revisions, but if you go beyond that, then you just have your last one where things get a little muddy. It's fine. I mean, it's still easier than a huge email chain that goes on forever, where you have like 75 emails all talking about the same thing. But it's, it's kind of, once, from what I can tell, once you build the tree, you're kind of locked into that tree. And it's a little hard to keep, but, and it becomes one of those issues of maintenance once you're in, kind of in the flow. But that's really nice. You can then set up, I believe you can set up your calendar here. So I don't actually use a calendar with this. I have one kind of unified calendar. But yeah, you can create reports from there of like how you're using your time, of who's, of who on the team's been, utilizing, is utilized their workflow. So let's say that you work with, in my case, I hire 4 different motion designers, and so I can go in here without having to ask. I can look and see who is available if I needed a task done, quickly. And then portfolios, you can kind of just put a list of images down. You can put just a list of things and how you're using it. You can have teams, kind of self-explanatory, and you can then go in and browse your teams. These are the different teams that are within the company. There's a customer success, blah, 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 blah. The cost here, since this is kind of corporate-ish, I think there is a cost involved. I think there's still a free version too. I'm not 100% on Asana. I've never looked into it.
There is a free version from Google. It integrates with Google. Yeah, because we're using it for Media Pros for a project. There's a free version you can get in Google.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, so there is a free version apparently. Cool. And then there's upgrade versions. I'm logged in with like the work email, so I'm kind of not touching things to like change stuff because I'll do that. But then the nice thing is you can also see what everybody's working on. Like this is everything at the company that's being currently like awaiting assignment. This is the stuff that's been assigned to people, but it's not been started. These are the different work in progresses. So this is what everybody, the task that everyone's waiting on. I did a good job, so I am blank. Go me. Pat on my back. And then here's the stuff that we've completed. And it's just, I don't think, to me, this one is like Trello on steroids, because each of these tasks kind of becomes a card in itself. For me, it lacks the creativity. It lacks that kind of, you've got your, you've got, like your different boards here, of tasks again, because I finished my stuff today, I don't have a whole lot, but you have your columns of due today, due next week, due later. You've got, you can add sections. You've got files here that can be shared with you, like logos and stuff, and it keeps your calendar. Like, so there's a lot more to it, but I don't think that you're going to come here to collaborate on the art side of things. You're not going to come here to collaborate on the way things look. You're not going to necessarily, it's just not that. And for that, I give you the one that if I were doing it now and I wasn't going to use Milanote, if I were, kind of, running a team or working with that kind of thing, what would I choose? I would choose San Diego's own ClickUp. So I created a ClickUp account just for you guys. And then I promptly closed it, but I didn't. Okay. So ClickUp is based in San Diego. You've no doubt seen tons of billboards everywhere. So I will, say I've not really used it for a project. I'm kind of covering it because one, I hopped into it and I was like, oh, this is great. But unfortunately, I have a thing that already does this that I like just a little better. But this is more powerful than Milanote. I would say it's as powerful as Asana, but it's just a little bit friendlier. It's just a little bit easier on the eyes. It's a little bit less difficult, and you get to support San Diego businesses, which is awesome. So they're like huge. It's not like, one guy in his basement, but you can, I didn't see a Windows app. They have an Android and iPhone app, but they don't have a Windows app like everybody else has. Milanote has one, Notion has one, and Asana has one. I didn't see one. If you know that they do, sorry, I was unaware. So yeah, so the nice thing about this is, instead of just kind of this cold list that Asana has, when you start up, which is, we'll do a little side-by-side comparison. So like you come into your home and it's just priorities and projects, which is good. Like then you got your people. Theoretically, you kind of know who you're working with. So I don't know why that's there. It's kind of like your top 8 on MySpace. But over here, I like the lineup. You can put your most important tasks. So you got your priorities. You've got trending, which is the things, if you have a project where there's a lot of stuff going on. For instance, I'm working on some projects that are coming up for Pride at Sirius at Pandora, and they're doing a lot of work right now with there's just a lot of back end right now. Like it's not necessarily me doing stuff on it, but hey, okay. But we are there's a lot of decisions being made in the background, and so that would come up in trending things where there's just a lot of movement in the background. Then you come into my work, and I think that this is just a little bit, it's like projects, but it's a little bit more full form. You've got to do, you've got any comments, you have done, and then you have your delegated. And I like the delegated because here you just have upcoming, overdue, complete. And sometimes this kind of brings in that category of things that might be you're waiting on someone else. So for example, Eric's waiting on some graphics from me. He would put that over in delegated. It's still there. He doesn't forget about it, but it's not something that he's got to see every time he comes up. So it's not an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, but it works. Then you get your notifications. Notifications is where you come up with, hey, a project is coming, whatever. You can build things out here where you can build your tasks. You can create a task. So let's just say if we're going to put it in SiriusXM, let's do an action item. And we can just say AAPI out of home, because that's one of my next projects there. Create a task. We need to right. and then we can create a task there. And then that's going to create that. We can open it. And then we can do the same thing where you can set different, you can set a to-do list that's then going to go into a progress list. You can have your checklists, your attachments, same things that we've been seeing, like Milanote, Asana, all these things are all within the same ballpark. It's just different ways of doing it and just different, and it's different how they kind of present them to you. So yeah, ClickUp is also free, at least to use like I have in this case. Yeah, you get your dashboards. You can create multiple dashboards that then show, you can have your time tracking. You can have simple, and they've got multiple templates. Their website had a lot of templates on it too for different things. There's different docs. The thing that I wish that ClickUp would do that Milanote does is it puts all the templates very accessible. Right there in the bottom corner, there's most of the templates that most people are going to use. ClickUp, you got to look for them a little bit, but they're there. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's kind of the same thing, but it's just a prettier Asana. To me, like the company that I use Asana for does cloud training for like Python and Amazon AWS. And I think that works well for that kind of business. ClickUp, I think might work better for more creative kind of, Petco would probably use ClickUp. I don't know that they do. I'm just, but something that's just a little bit more fun, that's got a little bit more, the guys that decided to change like Ronald McDonald to like that moon back in the 80s, like the Mac the Knight or whatever, they use Asana, whereas the guy that came up with the Jack in the Box head uses, ClickUp. That's my take. That's complete editorialization. I don't know that any of that happens, but yeah. So any questions on those? Because I know that those kind of just to cast a broad net, but it was just like I wanted to give you like everyone an intro to kind of some project management things, but also tell you what I think is going to fit most of the projects that if you're in this group, most of the projects you're going to do.
Living in the software company world that I do, we used Asana at one point, and then we switched to Asana. We went to Rike. Anyway, long story short, we're back at Rike, which is similar. You can build dashboards to do your graphs and like that. They also use Monday.com, which again, you're talking about fun. It's a little more whimsical, for the lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Than Rike or Asana. I found Rike and Asana are very similar.
Yeah, I've never used Rike. They were at Adobe Max for a while, and I remember seeing their user interface, and I was like, they shouldn't be here.
Yeah, they're heavy duty software.
Yeah,
high tech.
Yeah, Monday was one of them. There's a lot of these. Like if you look up, like if you Googled any of these while I was talking, your Facebook feed is going to be filled with all the ones I didn't mention. Monday's one of them. I think there's one called Friday too. Or it might be like Go Friday or Girl Friday or something. There's tons of these. But
Atlassian has a bunch of them. Jira, Confluence.
Yeah. Like
those are more for programmers.
Yeah, they're more for programmers, and they're also more for like enterprise. Like,
yeah,
I think everybody using this, everybody on this call could use this for their business or for their projects. Even if your company's not using it, like if you're like, hey, it would be easier for me to do this kind of stuff, like then that works. I don't think like nobody's going to use Jira for your
you
personal
don't
thing. Like
don't.
I think yourself. That this kind of gets you in the ballpark of all the things that are, again, Monday. We'd never finish going over them if we were going to touch them all. But I think that this gets you,
yeah, and they do. It seems like they all have like a free version that's simple, couple users or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
Yeah, and
I heard you mention Jira at one point, and I shuddered. But
Jira is the worst. Jira is like just absolutely terrible. But yeah, you can. And the nice thing is you can, like most of these have integrations. Like the one place that Milanote falls down is it does not have a calendar that I'm aware of. But almost all the others do. And I think ClickUp also does some stuff where it can sort your email. Like if you connect it to your email, the nice thing is like the functionality of especially Asana and ClickUp, because, and I'm probably Notion too, but I think Notion, you might actually have to do it yourself and like plan it. create it. But like, the nice thing with ClickUp and with Asana is that they have so many plugins that you can get that plug it into Gmail, that plug it into your Google Calendar, that plug it into your iPhone, so that everything's feeding into it. And that's kind of, ClickUp, if you've seen any city buses around town, they all say like, get a day per month back guaranteed or whatever. And the way that they purport to do that is that it's taking and like, it takes your calendar, it takes your emails, it puts your emails to your calendar, it creates to-do lists out of that. Like, it's just, you can automate a lot of that work to do, to kind of create things on its own, which is fantastic if that's your world. But for me, because I work with a lot of images, I'm doing a lot of that kind of stuff, and I just like creating, mood boards are big. Reference, that works well for me in Milanote. There's also another one called Miro. I've used Miro. I'll be honest, when I first got this computer, I downloaded Miro and used it for a week and was really confused why Milanote had changed their interface so much, because it's very similar. It's very similar. I like Milanote better, but that's just because I had probably started in it and I'm a little bit more comfortable with the user interface. But MIRO is another one that, like I said, the names were so close that I used Miro for 3 weeks before I realized I was in the wrong thing. I was like, I guess they deleted all my old files. That sucks. And so, yeah, it also shows you my amazing attention to detail. But yeah. Anything else?
DJ, I don't know. So I work at ClickUp.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm in Premiere and everything all day, every day, but use it enough on the project management side to say, yes, this has been completed. Here's the link, whatnot, those kinds of things. We did launch in the last like 6 months a whiteboards feature, which is very similar to Notion, as far as if you like visually seeing things more spread out in your own, that kind of way, as opposed to lists and that kind of thing. Give that a shot.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was, I heard you say earlier that I thought I heard you say that you worked at ClickUp, and I was like, damn it. But
don't hold back, man. It's
no,
like anything else. It's got its faults. But
I so badly wanted Kevin to say, I work at ClickUp. You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I would have accepted that. The main thing about it was, so I had never opened it until I was in a mastermind of other motion designers. And there were some people in the UK who were using it to run their business. And I really liked a lot of the stuff that it had with it. And it was just a matter of, once you kind of commit to a infrastructure, you're kind of there until there's a reason to leave. But like I said, when I started, like, it's the one that I would probably go to if I was picking one now. It was the one that I was actually, by the end of it, I think there was another guy that didn't go to it. But yeah, most of the mastermind had moved over to ClickUp for creative stuff, and they might have been using the whiteboard stuff. I'm not sure. But yeah, like, I think that it is a much I feel like it's a much more attractive thing than Asana. I don't like Asana at all. But I think that I know a lot of companies that use it, and so I did want to cover it. And again, it's kind of like Notion. If your brain works that way, then cool. Like, and I think that's the way a lot of these are, is like, it just matters how your brain works. I like, I like it, but there's, I think that ClickUp and Asana also are more powerful, and there's a lot more things that I'm not necessarily going to use.
Yeah.
But that's not bad. My car set, apparently it goes all the way up to 140. I've never done that. It's a hybrid RAV4. I can't really imagine it goes to 140. That seems stupid. Why would you create a hybrid RAV4 that goes 140? But
why not?
I digress.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm the most punk rock guy that's ever driven a RAV4. So
well, that is probably true. So, all right.
And if, actually, since I did the worst job on ClickUp, since I have the least experience with, if there's anything you want to like point out, please.
Well, it's it's project management. So for people who are in project management all day, every day, like anything, once you've figured out the system, you're all about it and become our own, evangelicals about it. I will say it's very customizable, in much like, say you go to Chipotle and you can pick out what you want and hold what you don't. And then as well, there's tons of automations and templates and that kind of thing to help speed the process up of whatever it is. There's different views like Gantt charts, and you can look at stuff by schedule and department and those kinds of things. The only other thing I'd say is, based on the feedback that we get from the customers that we have, is our customer service is pretty incredible when it comes to, hey, I have a problem, reaching out to support and getting something that's not just generic, but an actual, this is your particular problem, here's your particular solution, and that kind of thing. That's actually like one of the company's core values, that customer service is like the first one, so we have a whole CS team that's all about that stuff.
And to back you up on that, I actually think that was what sold. Like that was what when it came up in the mastermind, they were saying that they had some problems setting it up. They contacted and they were like, it's the best support. So.
Oh, wow. Well,
yeah.
Cool. That's awesome to hear that.
Yeah, it was, and that was a design studio again, based in London. So.
Sweet.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, either way, like I think the best advice is like you should be using some sort of project management. Whether you want it to be software or whatever, like you're already using a project management tool, even if that's just keep all the stuff in your brain, that's just happens to be a really bad project management tool. And so you should use something, and especially like if you're working remotely and helping like across teams, that kind of stuff, like collaborating with anybody, you can set, in all of these, you can set permissions so that people can only see certain areas. You can invite your clients and not show them how the sausage is made. You can invite your, motion designer, and you don't have to worry about him telling your client that their taste sucks. So, you can keep everybody walled off in their own silos and it's all good. But yeah, you should be using something, just because things do fall through the cracks. And all of these are going to be helpful. Yeah, you just pick what works for your brain.
All right. Any final questions for either DJ or myself, and we'll wrap it up.
And I will throw out, Kevin, that you guys have fantastic motion design on your ads.
Oh, dude, the VFX team here
they're really good.
They're insane. They are absolutely insane.
Yeah, totally different than my style, but so I'm not like concerned.
Yeah, it's cool. There's like the stuff that I work on is some of the more like kind of brand awareness type pieces, but we also have another team that does,
that's all in house. Okay, yeah, let's chat after, like let's connect after this, because I was actually wondering, I was like, I wonder who did that.
Yeah, there's a squad of 4 people that work on that.
Very cool.
Very cool. All right, folks. Well, with that, we will wrap up this evening's meeting. Thank you all for coming. And I want to make a special shout out. Let me see if he's still on here. Mr. Street, Mr. John Street. I hope you are feeling better, my friend. And I know you've got some back issues right now, and I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. You guys helped me pass the time in a great way. So very much appreciated. Looking forward to getting back together in person.
Yes. And if there's anything you need, you be sure and let me know.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right. Well, folks, thank you all again for coming. We will see you next month. I promise you, there not only will be a meeting next month, but it will be on its normal third Wednesday of the month. DJ and I will see to that, so we won't screw with anybody's schedule. Again, sorry for the little bit of craziness, but sometimes work and life gets in the way. And while we love you guys, you all, but sometimes we have to kind of shift things around a little bit. So with that,
if it makes anybody feel better, I sat down at 6:30, got in front of my computer, got ready to talk about stuff. I was like, where's the link? Huh. That's weird. Totally forgot.
That's funny.
Which was cool, which my kid was really excited about because he got to watch Frozen. Because I was like, "You're gonna watch Frozen while I do this." My wife's away; it's her birthday, so she decided to take a spa treat weekend. So or week.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, hey, listen, my wife's leaving town to go to Italy for 9 days on Saturday. So maybe we should do a play date with our kids just to sort of pass the time.
Maybe.
All right, we can take that offline. And with that,
Hey, we got Media Pro stuff coming. We're working on it and planning on it. So
Oh,
I know
yeah. Hey,
we've
you know
been kind of quiet, but
I'm glad you said that, Jeff. So before we go, can you say anything about Media Pros?
oh yeah, we need help. If anyone wants to volunteer, we need help on the board. We need help with volunteers. We're planning events. We're hoping to do in-person events. We're hoping to one will be on streaming, and what we listened to what all you guys said with the surveys and the town hall we had a couple months ago about real life things that are applicable. Real, not just have someone standing up there telling us about their product, but things that apply to what you are doing. We took that to heart, and we're really trying to put some things together. As I said, something on streaming that could possibly be a boot camp, on those pro camps that we have, on a Saturday. Talking about getting some folks to come talk about a film that was made locally, and tell us all about that. And we have some prizes, some possibly a new look and some new things coming up that we're working on. And DJ, I may have some After Effects questions for you. So I may be sending you a question on how to do something, because guess who got volunteered to do the promo video. So anyway, we haven't forgotten about people. We're really working hard on trying to get things planned. We'll be updating the website as well. And we're just, if anyone has ideas for meetings that they would like and topics they'd like us to cover, please let us know. We're here to serve the community, and we're looking to reach out to all facets of the community: television, production companies like you guys, corporate. It sounds like, Kevin, like you're in the same world as I am of working in a corporate situation. So we're trying to reach out to everybody. So
and we also do not like Jira.
yeah. I've been down the road of Jira and Asana. So that's why I drink heavily, I think. But anyway, no, thank you, Eric, for giving us the time. But yeah, we're really looking forward to getting folks back together. Hopefully, in the next month. We're trying to get a meeting. We were hoping to have one for this month, but it's hard to find a space. There aren't a lot of studios left in town.
Yeah. Listen, to just address that too. I mean, that pertains to our group as well. I mean, I've been asked by group members in the past why we haven't done in-person meetings and gone back to that. And the simple fact is, Platt College, where we were meeting before the world went nuts, isn't capable at this time of being able to facilitate us. And I've asked around a few other places, and there's people that are like, yeah, I can let you use it this month, or I can let you use it. It's like, it's not like a stable gig. It's hard to find places right now that will open up to a large number of people, partly of just staffing reasons and partly just because of other reasons. And so, as much as I hate doing Zoom meetings for the time being, until things settle out a little bit more, we get a little bit more normal, it's going to have to be this way, unfortunately. So yeah, I totally hear you on that. And the last thing I'll say too is Media Pros is a great group. For those of you who don't know San Diego Media Pros, they are definitely worth checking out if you do production in San Diego, any aspect of production. And we're grateful for their existence in this town. And everybody that's a part of this group should join that group and be a part of it as well, because I think there's a complementary nature that goes on.
Yeah.
We complement each other well, and it's been good to partner with you all on past meetings and things like that. And hopefully we'll do that again.
Yeah,
Really quick.
stmediapros.org.
Really quick, Jeff, is Media Pros a nonprofit?
Yes, we are. We're 501(c).
I might have a room for you.
You might. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I have a contact over at Liberty Station that runs the
Okay.
foundation. I don't know what foundation. It's a foundation. They're not my contact. They're a contact of a contact, but
Okay.
I can put you in contact.
Okay. Yeah. Let's contact.
What's happening? What's happening here?
Wait, you have to be a like 50 something something.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we're
we're
not-
far
we're-
too lazy to become anything
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that.
No, we actually have the paperwork. We're officially a nonprofit. When MCAI went out, we did that paperwork and we became a nonprofit on our own. So we are registered as that. And for this group, if it's this number of people, I can look into seeing if we could get a room at our offices. We have a boardroom. We have conference rooms. We've consolidated from 2 floors down to 1 floor, so I lost my studio. So till we move to the next and I build a new studio. But anyway,
So you're thinking bring an army of 25 editors to take back your studio?
Yeah, there we go. I still have keys to it. I don't know if I can get in the floor.
Show up to
It's
the
on a
meeting.
different-
Here's your free pitchfork.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I want my studio back. It finished like 2 weeks, finished building it 2 weeks before COVID hit. So it's I'm very sad. I've only got to use it a handful of times.
Ugh.
But anyway, but we do have conference rooms and like that, and I could possibly look into that, contact our
All right. Well,
people,
yeah,
ops people.
I will reach out to you, Jeff. We can talk about that.
Okay.
later. So,
Okay, and I'll check with you, DJ. That'd be great if there's a space where we could,
Yeah,
it'd be great.
look into it.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
All right, folks. Well, with that, we will see you next month when it's holy crap. Is it June next month?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Jeez.
Crazy.
It's gonna be 50 before I know it. And I'm gonna be dead. So I can't believe how fast time flies. Anyway, love you guys. See you next month. Bye, everybody.